Shy man, how did you meet your girlfriend? My buddy walked up to a random girl and said, "You see that guy over there? He wants her body." I didn't even see her, nor him do it. She called me a week later, and now we've been together 5 years now. This is the same buddy that 3 months prior convinced the entire freshman class in high school I was actually gay. My GF had to ask my other friends if I was gay before pursuing me. He thought it was hilarious.
It's funny how things work out. That same buddy really stirred the pot back then. Getting you together with your girlfriend was a win, though. And it's wild how a joke can lead to something serious. People can be unpredictable, and sometimes it takes dumb moves to figure things out. You've been together for a while now, so I guess that prank had a silver lining.
Husband and I are both pretty reserved. We've been married for almost 7 years now. We met at a comic book store. He found out I'm a Batman fan and loaned me The Long Halloween. He figured that'd be his way in. Except he kind of passed a stack of books out to everyone in our discussion group, and I just grabbed the book I wanted and walked out the door without speaking to him or anyone. Out of shyness, not intentional cruelty. I wasn't aware of his strategy. Worked out for him though, because I returned the book to him at a screening of the Star Wars Holiday Special. We began discussing Robins, and I expressed my distaste for Tim Drake. He scowled at me. We got married roughly 3 years later. TLDR, shy husband used Batman to get into my pants. Worked okay.
It's funny how things can start from just a comic book. Meeting in a crowded store, both shy but drawn together by Batman. You took the book, he respected that distance, then the conversation kicked off at a Star Wars event. Disagreeing over Robins must have sparked something. It's cool to see how those initial awkward moments can lead to something long-lasting. Sometimes it just takes a shared interest to break the ice.
I was having a LAN party in my parents' house in high school. She was interested in exactly why I was savagely whooping everyone's ass at StarCraft and Warcraft 3, and we hit it off while I explained what they were doing wrong. She admits now that she didn't really care about the game, and just thought I was cute, smiley face.
That's a classic situation. You get all caught up in gaming, and someone else is just there for you. It's funny how sometimes those moments become the starting point for something more. Just a chill night, but it turned into a connection. Makes you think about how the little things can lead to new friendships or maybe something deeper. Gaming can bring people together in unexpected ways.
Knew a girl from a couple of my best friends. Actually became really good friends with her. She was dating someone. She introduced me to one of her coworkers, and she and I have been dating for 1.5 years now. When trying to get to know a girl, remember, you can become just friends with her, because she has friends that are probably single.
That's a pretty relatable story. It's funny how connections can work out like that. Sometimes just getting to know someone can lead to unexpected things. It's nice that you made a new friend and it turned into something more. Shows how social circles can overlap in surprising ways. Just goes to show, being open to friendship can open other doors too.
I was looking to buy a bicycle and found an ad matching what I wanted online. So we exchanged a few messages, and on a rainy Sunday, I went over to look at it. It wasn't until I called to say I was running late, and she answered, that I realized I was going to be meeting a girl, not a guy. Shit, I hadn't done anything to my hair. It was raining heavily, and I'd been waiting for the bus outside for 10 minutes. I looked like poop. So I arrive, and I'm greeted by one of the cutest girls I've ever seen. And to top it off, she has a really cute dog too. I mumbled some kind of joke about buying a boat instead of a bike. It was raining really hard at this point, and she giggled. We've been together for 2 years and engaged since Valentine's Day, 2015.
That's a nice story. You weren't expecting to meet her, and the rain made it even more awkward. Funny how life works out sometimes, right? A random bike search leading to a meaningful relationship is cool. Moments like that can stick with you, and it seems like it worked out well in the end. Getting engaged after 2 years shows it was meant to be. Simple but impactful.
I didn't know how to approach girls in high school, but I knew how to doodle. I had a huge crush on this quiet girl who was always either reading or drawing penguins. One day, I started passing her unsolicited doodles of penguins dying in a bunch of comical scenarios. Turned out she had a really dark sense of humor and loved it, so we became friends and started dating. However, her friends didn't like me and convinced her to end it after a couple months. The next girl I dated in high school did all the ice breaking herself. She just sat down and started complaining to me about people being stupid, then asked me what sort of things I liked. We had a lot in common and became best friends. We eventually dated for a couple years, but the passion just didn't last. It's been over 5 years since we met, and we're still best friends. I've been through enough embarrassing, awkward moments that I don't get very shy anymore. If I want to get to know a girl, I just talk to her.
It's interesting how things play out in high school. That girl with the dark humor sounds unique, and it's funny how your doodles worked as an icebreaker. It's cool that you ended up dating the next girl after she made the first move. Some connections fade, but staying friends after a relationship is pretty rare. Sounds like you learned a lot through those experiences, which makes approaching people easier now.
I went to the grocery store, and I was wandering around as a single guy, trying to figure out what in the hell I was going to get for dinner that did not involve a frozen pizza. So of course, I was in the frozen pizza aisle, and there was a girl far outside of my league buying stuff that was not shit food. I said hi as I passed her. She looked at me like I was a moron and walked by. I got my pizza, went to the garden stand area, got some apples so I could feel like I had some kind of nutrition, and went to the checkout. Only one lane was open, and Hot Girl was checking out. She looked back at me. I kind of tried to wave, and she rolled her eyes. She left, I bought my pizza and apples, and walked outside to see Hot Girl's grocery bag explode right next to my car. I helped pick stuff up and blurted out, "So, can I get your number now?" Dated for 4 years, married now for 5, kid on the way.
It's funny how things work out. Just a regular grocery run turned into something more. You see someone, feel a spark, but then it's awkward. Then you end up helping out, and suddenly there's a connection. It's cool how a simple moment can lead to years of memories. Life's unexpected like that. What started with a pizza ended with a family. Guess sometimes it just takes a little courage to make a move.
My sister sent me to pick up some Starbucks coffee. This girl, way out of my league, was standing in front of me that looked and smelled amazing. Great hair, great style, petite, and gorgeous. I had this cosmic, overwhelming sense that if I did not say something to this girl, I would kick myself in the ass for the rest of my life. I tapped her in the shoulder and introduced myself and asked her if it would be okay if I gave her my number. She said okay, and I left thinking that whatever happens, at least I had the balls to try. She called me a day or two later, and we had our first date December 29th, 99, 2 days before the millennium. Together ever since. TLDR, married 12 years, together 15 and a half. 2 kids, house, 2 cars, dog. Just talk to her. The rest of your life may depend on it.
It's funny how small moments can change everything. I remember a time when a friend nearly missed his chance with someone he liked. He hesitated but eventually went for it. They hit it off, ended up together, and now they're a happy family. Sometimes, taking that leap is worth it. You never know where a simple conversation might lead. It's all about making the effort, really.
Was working the drive-through at McDonald's when she came through with her friend driving. She said to her friend that I was kind of cute, so when I opened the window to give them their change, the friend screamed, "She thinks you're hot. She wants your number?" I gave it to her, and we've been together for almost 2 years now.
That's a nice story. It's funny how random moments like that can lead to something good. Just a simple exchange at a drive-thru turned into a solid relationship. It's interesting how connections can spark from unexpected places. Glad to hear it worked out for them.
We both worked at McDonald's, and I was chosen to teach her a position. We slowly talked more and more at work. After a bit, we started chatting online through Gmail. Then one night I said, well, typed, you could be my girlfriend if you want to. She said she'd think about it. A week later, she called me and said she accepted my offer, and we've been dating 3.5 years now.
That's a chill story. It's cool how work can lead to something more. You went from coworkers to chatting online, then to dating, all pretty naturally. 3.5 years is a solid run. Shows that sometimes, taking a leap can really pay off.
We first really hit it off at a mutual friend's birthday party in high school. I was too shy to ask her out and didn't really think she liked me. On Valentine's Day, I got a secret admirer card in my locker. A friend of mine recognized the handwriting. I called one of her friends, who I was friends with as well, and asked her if I should ask her out. The friend thought that would be a great idea, so I did. We ended up dating in high school, while at separate colleges, and have now been married for 13 years in June. Edit. Clarifications. We dated in high school. I went to college while she was still in high school. She then graduated high school and went to a different college over 3 hours from my school. Just this past June, we celebrated our 13th anniversary. Holy crap. Thanks for the goal.
It's nice how things unfold sometimes. You were shy, but a little nudge from a friend made a difference. That secret admirer card must have been a thrill. It's interesting how you both managed the distance while in college. 15 years is a long time, and it's great you celebrated that milestone together. Shows how sometimes, the right connections stick around. Life takes unexpected turns, and it looks like this one turned out well.
My boyfriend has always been fairly shy and quiet. We met back in high school and have been friends for 4 years before anything happened. He'd always shoot me these awkwardly worded texts, asking what was going on, if I wanted to come to his house and watch movies. He was also pretty noobish and wore meme shirts for the better part of our friendship, so I never saw him as boyfriend material until my ex broke up with me and I found myself at current BF's house. We'd watch my favorite movies and he'd sit quietly and let me vent about how terrible my ex was. And then one day we're dry humping on his futon and he's no longer the nerdy friend. He definitely won the race with slow and steady.
It's funny how things change. I remember hanging out with a friend like that, someone you wouldn't think twice about until suddenly, it's all different. They just got it when it mattered. We'd chill, talk about everything, and then one day, it just clicked. No pressure, just a natural shift. Sometimes the quiet ones surprise you. Took a while, but looks like slow and steady does win the race.
We met in a college course we had together. I thought she was cute and seemed nice and cool, so I paid attention for her name. One day she was wearing a cute hat, it really complimented her, and I told her that after class. We talked on our way out of the building and went our separate ways after she said she had dinner plans. After that, I noticed she would slowly make her way out after class ended so that we would leave at the same time. Then we'd talk about stuff, and I'd ask if she had dinner plans. Eventually we ate together. Once spring break rolled around, we both decided individually to get each other's phone number. That led to a date and the happiest time in my life.
It's funny how things start in college. Just a casual chat about a hat turned into something more. We both navigated our own way before realizing we enjoyed each other's company. Those post-class talks grew into dinner plans and eventually a date. It didn't feel forced, just a natural progression. Looking back, it's nice to see how a simple compliment sparked so much. Good times for sure.
Well, I work at a shoe store. Amongst my friends, I am known to have neutron star density when it comes to noticing girls flirting with me. I was once told you're the kind of guy I'd date, and didn't realize she wanted to date until a month later. Well, the other day, I was at work and this very shy but very cute girl walks in. I help her out and do my thing, and every time I walk by, she is blushing like mad, even laughing at my shitty at work jokes. You need tennis? 8 shoes? I thought you said 8-ish. So just as I am building the courage to ask for her number, her family walks in. I am feeling screwed at this point. So when I'm checking them out, I stealthily slid a piece of paper with my name and number into her left shoe. Somehow, it worked. I got a text from her the next day saying how smooth it was. Victory is mine.
That's a pretty interesting way to handle things. Sliding your number into her shoe is definitely unique. It's funny how we can miss signals sometimes, though. Seems like she was into you, and your jokes actually got a reaction. It's nice to see a shy person open up a bit. Glad it worked out in the end. Sometimes, being a little bold pays off. Curious to see how it goes from here.
I started doing drama at her school. She started texting me after the play was over. She seemed nice, and I decided I really needed to try out dating, so I asked her out to a movie. That was stressful, but much better after she said yes. We didn't really talk much during the movie, so we went out again later for coffee and a walk. It started raining midway through, but it was still pretty nice. Spoke more, texted a ton more, kept doing stuff, officialized ourselves as a couple. I'm still pretty new at this, and I haven't kissed her, but the shyness is mostly gone with her. It's just high school, though. We're both new to it, and I don't feel much pressure. That's just high school, though. Not sure if it helps. Uneasy face. Edit. She's away at the moment. Minimum 2 weeks before I can follow your advice. Don't worry. I'll kiss her, all right?
It's always interesting to navigate those early days of dating. Sounds like you took a leap by asking her out, which is a good start. The movie date can be awkward, but it's nice you connected more over coffee. It's cool that you both are taking your time. High school can be a weird phase, but it's okay to feel shy. Just enjoy getting to know each other when you have the chance.
I'm always the funny man in groups and such, and I was the singer in a regional popular metal band, but I was terrified of asking girls out. This one girl threw hints at me for 6 months in a row, until she got tired and just took me. Afterwards, she said she had to because we were finishing high school and we lived far apart. So chances were we'd never see each other again. Been together 12 years now, married 5 years, 2 kids. The love of my life.
That's cool how things turned out. It's interesting how life plays out, right? You think you're just going to be the funny guy, and then someone comes along and changes everything. Sometimes you need a little push to realize what you have in front of you. It sounds like she did that for you, and now you have a nice family to show for it. Glad it worked out.
We had friends in common, and they wanted to sit together for a class, so we ended up sitting next to each other, and we started bonding through music. We both enjoyed metal, which we never expected from the other. That led to us talking regularly, and then we started dating. That was 5 years ago, and now I feel old.
Sounds like a solid start. You never know where you'll find common ground. Music has a way of bringing people together. 5 years is a decent stretch. Must have shared some good moments. It's funny how unexpected connections can turn into something lasting.
I have Asperger's syndrome, technically ASD. I didn't know this when I met my now girlfriend, and then stranger, inside of a bar around 1 p.m. on a weekday, 2 years ago. She sat in the bar stool directly beside mine, and we started making fun of Anthony Bourdain, who was on the big screen, at the same time. We hit it off immediately. The conversation lasted 13 hours until we were kicked out just before 2 a.m., state law. She invited me over, and we did what drunk people do in drunk love. The next morning, we sat on her couch and took turns providing narrations for William Shatner in Star Trek. Being with her felt natural and organic all the time. I had never met anyone whom I felt that way about. We made things official. She was 26, and I was 21. I was diagnosed with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, nearly 2 years after we got together. After I told her about it, she revealed that she was advised years ago to pursue an evaluation for diagnosis of what was then known as Asperger's syndrome. Our instant relationship made sense after that.
It's interesting how you can connect with someone totally unexpectedly. Meeting in a bar, joking about a show, and just clicking for 13 hours sounds like a good time. That couch conversation about Star Trek really shows the comfort level between you two. The whole revelation about your diagnoses adding up makes sense, and it's cool that you both found each other. Life can surprise you like that.
Okay, Cupid. Look, ignore that introvert/extrovert stuff. People aren't one or the other, and leaning more towards one doesn't mean you're unchangeably that way. People are always talking about their comfort zones as sacrosanct. My goddamn comfort zone is sitting on the floor with my brother playing Desert Strike in the cottage we lived in 15 years ago. Everything good in life lies outside your comfort zone. Force yourself to do things that scare you. Join a dating site, or have your friends introduce you to people, or find a speed dating event near you. Go on dates. It'll probably suck every bit as much as you fear it will. And you'll be a nervous wreck for the first few, so they'll end terribly, but after a while it won't be so bad, and after a longer while you'll start to actually enjoy them.
I remember my first date after joining a dating site. I was so nervous I could hardly eat. We met at a small cafe, and I just kept thinking about how awkward it might get. Turns out, it wasn't that bad. We ended up talking about our favorite video games for hours. It still wasn't love at first sight, but it opened me up to new experiences. It's funny how stepping out can lead to unexpected moments.
It was in my holidays in Italy. She said hi on the breakfast. We met 2 hours later and talked for like 5 hours. She was the sweetest girl I ever met. We talked for like 3 days, then she went home. In a messenger we wrote the whole nights. After like 4 weeks we decided to meet up again, 180 kilometers away. We kissed us but still weren't together. After 5 days I said to her that I love her, and now we are 11 months together, and in 1 week I will move to her. Smiley face.
That's a nice story. Meeting someone unexpectedly can really change things. It's cool you spent those initial days just talking and getting to know each other. Long distance can be tough, but it seems like you both made it work. Moving in together sounds like a big step, but it's good that your relationship has grown. Hope it all goes well for you both.
Sophomore year, we had history class together. She couldn't stand the people she was sitting next to, so she asked the teacher if she could move, and he put her next to me. While we worked, we started to talk, and found out we shared a lot of interests. I slowly started to develop feelings for her, and she for me. Towards the end of the year, I asked her out, and now we've been together for a year and going strong. Smiley face.
That's cool. It sounds like you both clicked right from the start. A simple shift in seating changed everything. It's nice how common interests can spark something more. Asking her out must have been a big moment for you. It seems like you two have built a solid connection over the year. Glad to hear things are going well. Sometimes, it just takes a chance to get things going.
I had known this chick since we were kids. We played in the sand together while our older brothers played t-ball together. Years passed before our paths crossed again. We were the first people at a party a mutual friend was throwing. Mutual friend says, "So, what are we getting into tonight?" I replied drunkenly with, "I plan on making out with her at some point." She simply said, "I'm down. I'm one of the shyest people you'll ever meet." This was completely out of my ordinary routine of sitting in the corner quietly. I knew it was now or never. I stood up, walked over, and I kissed her like there was no tomorrow. Everyone was cheering us on. We got married in 2010 and have an 18-month-old son now.
That's a cool story. It's interesting how childhood friends can reconnect in surprising ways. Seems like you took a big leap that night, breaking out of your shell. It's funny how those moments can lead to something serious down the line, like marriage and kids. Life has a way of surprising you. Glad to hear it worked out for both of you.
at my nephew's birthday party, and she bent over in front of me by accident. She had a cute butt, and I guess my mom saw me looking at it. My mom started the conversation to her and introduced us to each other. Went on a date for ice cream and been together for 7 years. My mom was my wingman. We are separating currently though, but are still good friends, and I pretty much claim her daughter as my kid, so it's cool.
That's an interesting story. It's funny how life works out sometimes. You never expect an accidental moment to lead to something meaningful. It's good to hear you're still friends, even while separating. Having that connection with the daughter must feel nice too. It shows you can maintain relationships in different ways. Life takes unexpected turns, I guess.
OkCupid. Seriously guys, online dating can work pretty well. Plus, OkCupid is free. It helped that I had met her once before in high school, because one of her friends was one of my friends, so I broke the ice with that. That was 5 years ago, and now we own a house together and are soon to be engaged.
That's cool to hear. Online dating can really connect people, especially when there's that previous familiarity. It makes the first conversation a lot easier. I guess it worked out pretty well for you both, going from a high school connection to owning a house and heading towards engagement. Seems like you found a solid partner in her. Simple and straightforward, just how relationships should be.
My first GF was my GF since elementary school, and was so until freshman year of high school, when she went crazy. My second asked me out. The third I met online and made friends with before I ever knew she was a girl. And my fourth I helped study for a class in college, and we kind of just spontaneously started kissing. The good news is I've always had companionship. The bad news is I have no idea how to ask girls out.
It's interesting how relationships develop over time. Starting from elementary school, that's a long stretch. Sounds like you had a mix of experiences with each girlfriend. Meeting someone online and becoming friends first is a good way to build trust. Helping someone study and then ending up kissing is also a way things can happen unexpectedly. It's clear you value companionship, but asking someone out can be a challenge for many.
I think that my so is asleep right now, so I'll answer for him. He is very, very shy when it comes to the ladies. I'm his first girlfriend, first kiss, first everything really. He is 18. We met in school, in a computer science and information technology class, CSID. Frankly, I was a little intimidated of him, since he is very tall and rocks a fabulous beard. Eventually I learned that he is just a teddy bear.
That's a cute story. It's always interesting how first relationships unfold. Sounds like he really found someone to open up with. It's nice to hear about shy people finding their comfort zone, especially when they seem intimidating at first. It's cool that you both connected in a class too. It shows how common interests can help break down barriers. Overall, a sweet dynamic you both have.
Female here dating a shy guy. We were in the same work group in a class, and I thought he was cute, so I tried to talk to him several times. And he would always just smile stupidly and wouldn't say anything back. But in a last effort, and despite I was already thinking he was an idiot, I reached for his phone and said we should be friends on Facebook and proceed with adding myself. It worked, we started chatting. Turns out he's kind of deaf, so he couldn't hear anything I was saying because I was talking way low for him and was too shy to just say so. We've been together for 1 year now.
That's pretty relatable. Sometimes, initial communication just doesn't click. You try to connect, but things get lost in translation. It's interesting how something as simple as a social media ad can lead to a real relationship. The fact that he was shy and didn't mention being hard of hearing adds another layer. Funny how misunderstandings can lead to something meaningful. Glad it worked out for both of you.
And me. Was single for 6 years, dated a lot of girls, friends of friends, POF, Tinder, random hookups, but once I hit the 3-month mark and they see me in their future, That's when I see them later. This girl was different, and I knew when she screamed the place down, when she bowled a strike, that good things would happen. Nearly a year.
It's funny how dating can feel like a cycle. You meet a lot of people and think it might go somewhere, then reality hits when they start planning a future you weren't ready for. I had a similar experience once. Met someone who was really into sports, and their excitement was infectious. It made things feel real for a while, but in the end, I just wasn't on the same page. Happens, I guess.
Hello, I've come to submit my request form for a relationship with you. Redacted. Redacted. Your request has been submitted and is now pending board approval. Results expected to come in 5 to 7 business days. 5 to 7 business days later. Redacted. Congratulations. The board has approved your request.
I remember when a friend of mine did something similar with a crush. He sent a message saying he liked her and would like to hang out. It was a bit awkward, but she replied a few days later, saying she was interested. Turns out, it led to them going out together. Sometimes you just have to put yourself out there and see what happens. It can be surprising.
This post gives me a lot of hope. My boyfriend and I have been friends through high school and have been dating 7 months. We had to separate universities, but we plan to stay together and have already discussed how important having a future together is for us. Was getting through university so far from her challenging?
I can relate to that. My friend went to college in a different state while we stayed connected. It wasn't easy for them, but they made time for calls and visits. They talked about their future often too. It helped them stay grounded and focused. It's nice to see a relationship grow despite distance. As long as both people are committed, it can really work out well.
Okay, Cupid, I literally just get ignored on. I try to only message women that I feel I have something in common with and talk about that, but I really feel I would have better chances just spamming tits or nah to every one of them. I mean, I get that I'm a pretty average guy, but damn, not a single response?
I get that. Dating apps can be tough. You try to connect on common interests, but sometimes it feels like you're just shouting into the void. I've had friends who faced the same issue. They put in a lot of effort but ended up feeling ignored. It's frustrating when it feels like the best strategy is just throwing out random lines. There's got to be a better way to connect, right?
When I was younger, I was staunchly of the opinion Dick Grayson or GTFO. I was frustrated when Tim Drake was introduced in BTS. To be fair, that Tim was more a Tim Jason hybrid. This was a decade ago. However, I have since come to adore Dick as Nightwing. Damian is my favorite Robin. I hated him initially too, and my opinion of Tim vastly improved after I read his run in Red Robin.
It's funny how opinions change over time. I remember hating certain characters too, then years later, they become favorites. I was all about one character, then something clicked and I saw the depth in others. It's like life, you grow, and so do your tastes. Now I can't imagine a world without those characters in the mix. It just shows how we can evolve in our views.
Can also recommend Moshonite. The ring I gave to my fiancée was a silver band I made myself at a local jewelry workshop with a nice big moss stone put in. I paid a jeweler to do that bit. End result was amazing. 250 pounds for the stone, 100 pounds for the ring and fun workshop session, and 150 pounds for the jeweler to do the setting.
That sounds like a cool project. Making a ring yourself adds a personal touch that store-bought ones lack. The overall cost seems reasonable, considering it includes the workshop and the stone. It's nice that you got to be involved in the process, and I'm sure it made the ring even more special for your fiancé. It's pretty memorable to gift something handmade.
Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed. Love.